Why would you sacrifice now for potentially something in the future, especially we don't necessarily know what that is? So I'm watching an interview from Diary of a CEO and Brian Johnson. And it's interesting because, for Brian Johnson, those of you who don't know who he is a person or an individual that, for the most part, basically spending, I don't know, they say $2 million, probably even more than that, a year to, extend his life, to figure out, how to biohack longevity, lifespan, whatever. So the point is that, someone was asking him, because he lives a pretty disciplined, for the most people would say just boring as fuck, like life, or eats certain things, exercises, goes to sleep at 8:30, whatever. And the question was, do you think, the trade-off is great? Like, say to somebody, what do you say to someone that says like, hey, I don't want to transfer sort of all my fun in my life now, for the next 15 years, or an extra 15 years at the end. Like, why would I want to, not eat this or not drink, have a couple drinks or have coffee, whatever it is. Like, I would rather not do those things through, my entire life, 20s to, whatever, 85, just so I can live, an additional from 85 to 95 or 85 to 105, whatever it is, because you would have sacrificed so much just for those extra years later on, which maybe it doesn't make sense. So the point was, and he went into it and it was like, well, we're getting to a point where, it is that, it's not, we're going to have some of the most incredible times, in the future, basically being like, we're at the cutting edge of AI, and just sort of what's coming in the pipeline is going to completely transform everything. And life in general is just going to be like super awesome because of sort of what's coming. Whether you like it or not, I think you understand it. And so the interviewer basically is like, well, what about, wealth, income, and what about, all of these things? And, he's like, 60% of the people have all of the wealth and others don't. So, like, what happens then if those 65-year-olds live till they're, 120? Like, just the wealth is going to get even more. Basically saying, like, we need older people to die off so that wealth transfers down to younger people. Which is interesting because if you understand how money works, it's like, Grandpa Paul has, $100 million. And so when he transfers it down, it's not like it goes to the average individual. It goes to, the kids, and then the kids just take that and, get a nice 8% compounding return, and that 100 million turns into, several billions. So, just interesting. But the point was, it was interesting because he basically was saying, is it worth for somebody, why would you sacrifice now for potentially something in the future, especially we don't necessarily know what that is? And honestly, I think that is probably the hardest, in what I kind of preach on here about financial literacy and saving and investing. Like, most people are like, well, why would I not like order appetizers? Why would I not go out to eat? Why would I not Uber Eats? Why would I not go get nice outfits and a nice bag and a nice, whatever? Why would I not do all of that just so that when I'm, 65, 75, instead of bagging groceries at Walmart, I can, have a little bit extra money? And in a lot of cases, if you don't know anyone around you that has, wealth, you don't see how they live, it could seem completely foreign to you. So it's like, why should I stop pleasure now for, this idea of having pleasure later on? So it's interesting that he says it, in both longevity, like, why would I stop this pleasure now, eating what I want, all this kind of stuff, not exercising, whatever, so that I can have pleasure later. Finance works the exact same way. And so it got me thinking, and, just the combination of those two, when the guy was saying, well, 50% of all of the wealth in the country is, held by people that are 65 and older. And so just tying those two together, and, the idea was like, well, how dare they, and by no means did the interviewer, say this or even apply this at whatsoever. But I can tell you that there's a lot of people out there that are kind of have this idea of like, how dare you, just keep all the wealth? Like, all these people that, 65, you're worth $100 million or something. And so you're just a super wealthy person. And then all these people are struggling, and like, you should be giving to charity and you should be doing this and whatever. And I just think it's funny, like, they're probably going to say that, and, doing some longevity things as well. I don't really talk much about it. Well, I guess I'm talking about here, but I don't talk much about it because it is one of those things that I could see, very possibly, it might even be with the climate change people or whatever, that they say, well, look at these guys, like, how dare they live to, 100, 110, 120, and sort of the average person's dying at 75 because they're obese and they have all these problems. Like, and here they have these people that had the luxury and they had the ability to, buy supplements and work out and didn't have to do blah, 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 blah. How dare they live longer? And, it's the same mindset of someone's like, well, how dare you have or be worth, $100 million? How dare you be worth, like, you're just a rich person just holding down the working class. Like, other people made that money. And it got me to thinking, and this is the point, it's like, no. So what happened was, the guy with the six-pack abs that's extremely healthy, we don't say, how dare that person be so gorgeous or how be so fit and be so handsome. We normally say, man, awesome. And because I think it's easier for us to understand that person, well, some people will say it's just all genes, that person put a lot of effort in. How can you say to someone, and I'll just use myself as an example, how can you say, how dare you, live so great, drive a Ferrari, take 6 vacations a year, you get to spend as much time as you want with your family, you go to nice restaurants, you have nice clothes, whatever it is, like how, like, and, and I'm just on the fringe, being worth, somewhere around, I don't know, whatever, $10 million right now, somewhere around that range. And like in another, just compounded interest, like it's going to be 20 million when I'm, 60, or I'm sorry, when I'm 52, and that'll be 40 million when I'm 62, and that'll be 80 million when I'm 72, and, and so on. So just the rule of, 8% compounding. So when you're thinking about that, it's like, well, here's the thing, guys, like, when I was eating shit and I was exercising while you were drinking Coke and eating donuts, like, it's the same thing. Like, that's why I have abs. But it is also the reason why you have financial literacy is because some of these people are out there and they're not ordering appetizers and they're not buying a bunch of crazy stuff. And yet they are still working 2 jobs and they're hustling it. It's just once they're able to accumulate any sort of money, whether it be someone at a restaurant that's making, $14, $15 an hour, or it be someone that's making $100,000 an hour, your wealth is not determined, and I can show you stats forever. Your wealth is not determined based on how much money you make. Your wealth is determined about how much money you make and then save and invest, that then, creates that wealth. So how can you say, well, I've never done any of these things through my entire life, like, how dare you have money and I don't? Well, because you gave it all away, because by definition, the only reason why I have money is because I didn't give it away. And like, this is the hardest thing for people to understand. And people would be like, well, yeah, but I have to, because, I just have to pay for my bare necessities and like my, my Ubers and my, my private daycare and my, going out to eat, and I gotta have nice clothes, and I can't, like, what, you just expect me to walk around and slum it and only have 1 pair of shoes in 2 years and kind of just have like maybe 2 or 3 outfits that I would just wear all the time, and what, I don't go out to eat ever. I gotta eat macaroni and cheese, ramen noodle, and it's like, yeah, so that's what I did. I had a couple of outfits that I wore just every once in a while. I didn't change my shoes, but like maybe once every 2 years when the soles starts falling off. I ate noodles with ketchup on it because, that's what we had to eat, and, we didn't spend it. And it took a long, long time. And once I started making money, then I realized that, just earning and spending wasn't going to make any difference, because I was going to have to just consistently keep earning. So then I go in and I decide, and I say, okay, well then I say, well, I have to do something different, and that would be saving and investing. So don't get angry at me because I decided to do the things that was supposed to. In just the same way, I don't want you to get angry at Brian Johnson or any of the others that are out there that are saying, hey, we're not going to eat these things, and that's going to mean that we're going to be in optimal health. We're not going to be obese. We're not going to develop diabetes. We're not going to develop cancers. And we're going to live longer. 85, 100, 100 years old, 105, whatever it is, whatever we're biologically sort of programmed to, in addition to what we've done, we're going to live all. Don't get angry by someone's results because they decided to sacrifice and you didn't.